Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. Exciting day yesterday for Braves country. Craig Kimbrel, a legend, maybe 5 or 6 years after Atlanta Braves fans probably wanted us to go out there and sign the former Braves legend. But they do it. Minor league deal, $2 million if he's in the majors. And this is, if you're a longtime Braves fan, and really any Braves fan, I don't see what you have the problem here. Like, is he going to be the answer to the Atlanta Braves bullpen concerns that we've talked about leading up to this season? Probably not. But, there's some upside here. And frankly, I don't really care. It's a minor league contract. It's a $2 million contract if he makes it to the majors. I'm just excited to have him back in Atlanta. Maybe he ends up doing something. Maybe he doesn't. But it's a no-lose situation with this signing.
Yeah, win-win situation. No-lose situation. He still strikes guys out at an absurd rate. You wouldn't really believe that if you saw his ERA. But the Braves obviously dig into it a little bit deeper than that. More than anything, talk about poetic. Come back. He wasn't really great last year, at least from an ERA standpoint. Comes back, got one more magical season in him, right where it all started. He probably should have been in Atlanta much longer than he even was. It was only a few seasons, honestly. But I think, I don't think anybody does. Do people have an issue with it? I didn't see.
I've seen people rolling their eyes on social media.
I think maybe they're more being like, that's the move we're making. Like, I love Kimbrel and it's, a breath of fresh air, but let's also, this doesn't really do anything in terms of the top end talent that we are missing. And not that there are top end guys out there that, you really feel comfortable in high leverage situations. But I think that's where maybe frustrations come from.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not going to be something to solve all the Atlanta Braves issues. I actually think there's a half decent chance Craig Kimbrel could end up being a high leverage guy for the Braves, but that says more about what the Atlanta Braves have with their bullpen. But he's going to start the year in Gwinnett, ramp things up. Maybe around April, if he's pitching pretty well, we could see him. And listen, there's just not enough guys on this roster for me to believe that he won't be with the Braves at some point this season unless he really struggles. You mentioned the strikeout rate. It's still there, 31.5% last year, 93rd percentile in baseball. His fastball is not where it was when we last saw him, when he was throwing 98, 99, 100 miles per hour every pitch. It's more around 94, but that slider is still filthy, and he's able to miss a lot of bats. The only thing consistent about Craig Kimbrel over the last 5 seasons has been his inconsistencies. You go back to 2019, 2020 with the Cubs. He had some injury issues, but he was bad when he was on the mound. 6 ERA in those 2 seasons. Next season, he has a 0.49 ERA for the Cubs before he's traded to the White Sox, where he's terrible. So it doesn't make sense. And then you go up to this season, most recently, where you look at that 5.33 ERA and you're like, wow, he sucked. Well, on July 7th, after 38 appearances, this guy had a 2.10 ERA. He was striking out guys at like a 14 per 9 clip, had an unbelievable strikeout rate, 2.47 FIP. Opponents were hitting 143 off of him with a 483 OPS going into the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, he had an 11.50 ERA. It was only 19 appearances, so small sample size, had some really bad outings in there. But you could see, and then in 2023, he's an All-Star with the Phillies. So it's just like been a wild thing where you look at what he's good at, missing bats. You look at what he's bad at, and this has been the one thing that's gotten Kimbrel in trouble. When he used to be able to throw 100 miles per hour and strike out 17 batters per 9 innings when he was with the Atlanta Braves, it didn't matter as much. But control has always been a little bit of an issue. And you look at when he's good, he doesn't walk guys. You look at when he's bad, he's walking guys. So is he going to be able to hit the strike zone? That's when you know if he's going to give you a good outing or not.
Pretty simple with any pitcher. Can you pound the strike zone, and can you make guys swing and miss? It's really not a simple or a complicated formula. I don't. It's definitely not enough. And to be honest, there's really nothing that is going to make me feel good about the Atlanta Braves bullpen, probably until we start getting into the season and perhaps we find a diamond in the rough. But even then, I think it's going to have to come via trade. I did something on David Robertson. Still don't know why he's unsigned. That's really strange because everybody and their mother would be interested in that guy. especially at this point in the offseason, especially a team like the Atlanta Braves who have a World Series caliber rotation, a World Series caliber lineup, and then we've got those, misfits in the bullpen that we're not quite sure of. Surely the Atlanta Braves would be interested in a guy like him, and I don't know why he's still unsigned. He opted out of his contract, so you would think that he's looking to still pitch. He's 39 years old, but he didn't pitch in 2019 and 2020 and barely pitched in 2021. So he doesn't have the mileage of a typical 39-year-old reliever. But even if the Braves still got him, I'm still where's our guy? You know what we're missing is a closer that's not our closer. So a guy that you feel comfortable with closing if Rafael Iglesias goes down, but he's obviously a setup man who is just an elite setup man that could close games for you in a pinch. We don't have that guy.
Well, yeah, we're missing AJ Minter.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Jimenez, what could have been that guy had,
But listen, and then you have to consider, you're not trying to win a World Series in April. Joe Jimenez, I believe, with everything they've done this offseason, they think he's going to be back at some point this season. It'll probably be down there. So, the infamous, it's like making a trade. It's like making a trade right after the trade deadline without actually making a trade. I mean, that's what they hope Joe Jimenez can potentially be for them. And I think overall they're going to evaluate this landscape and then make moves as they see fit throughout the season and especially at the trade deadline. We're so far away from that, but I would be shocked if we're not making multiple moves for relievers at the trade deadline when these guys are costing pennies and prospects that you'll never even hear from over the next 5 years, and they might not even make the major league. So I'm not too concerned about it right now. If we were going into October tomorrow, I'd be like, sure, this is rough, man. Craig Kimbrel, you're going to go out there and close a game for us? Because as I said, and you said it, with the closer situation, if God forbid something were to happen to Rafael Iglesias, even if it was a minor month-long injury, where are they going? Let's just play the game.
You're right, though.
Where would they go?
Pierce Johnson?
I think they would go AJ Smith-Shawver. I think they would have to start getting really creative with this whole thing. But if you're looking at the whole totality of this, and it's hopefully Iglesias stays healthy.
That is my worry that, you're right. Baseball's a very long season. And, we can always make changes at the trade deadline. Nobody should be scared of not being able to find very good relievers, high leverage guys at the trade deadline. That happens all the time. And you said it, pennies on the dollar. But Rafael Iglesias goes down for a month. We're we're not waving the white flag, so to speak, but we're in a dire position. That's an important position for a month. Where we're talking about, I hope we don't blow this game. I hope we don't blow this game.
Because, if it's not a guy like AJ Smith-Shawver who can hum it, which is a risk in itself. You're talking about throwing a 22-year-old that has 25 major league innings under his belt and then also halting his development. So it's not an ideal situation. I'm just saying, when you look at the other options, are you like, is Dylan Lee going to close games? Is Aaron? Yeah, are you going to take him out of the rotation? But then look at the entire totality of what you're going to need in October, right? AJ Smith-Shawver could be a very good reliever for that team. Grant Holmes, Ronaldo Lopez, so those guys, and then you get Joe
Hurston Waldrop. If you could ever get some control, that splitter fastball would be nasty.
You get Joe Jimenez back. Now you're you're starting to see that. So I think it's just a situation where they're willing to go fluid in, knowing that they can adjust at the trade deadline, and hopefully guys like Craig Kimbrel, Hector Neris, who are veterans that have had success in the past. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting start to the season for the Braves in terms of their bullpen. It could definitely be some rocky rides where everyone's blaming Brian Snitker, even though it's the fact that he has no one to turn to in those later innings.